All right, folks, we're back, and we're getting into the other semifinals. It is Bly versus Nerchio. And of course, the winner of this will go on to fight against Euthermal in the finals. And, oh, dog, you know I'm cheering for Bly, but Nerchio and Euthermal is such a hype rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch. So, I don't know. I don't quite know who I want to win for this one. But the bottom right, he has been the hashtag online cup king, winning probably more Corsair Cups than anyone else I can think of. It is the Red Zerg player, Nerchio.
Well, in the top left, it is Expert's Bly. And for a long time, he said he was the online cup king.
You know, I just realized how sick. It didn't even dawn on me because we didn't know Nerchio was going to win versus Beastie or not. But Euthermal and Optimus is like the TVT, Bly and Nerchio for the ZvZ.
It
like,
is.
These are like Senpai and Kohai. This is like friends that go back, guys who know each other's builds and plays. Like
they do know each other very well, yeah.
I will say again, the same way I feel about the last series, where I think my money, the smart money's on Nerchio, but there's a good chance Bly could actually upset this and win.
I don't know if that Optimus Euthermal match score is actually just super weird. Like, it's a combination of how far the match history went back and how consistent it was and how many games there were. Like, all three of that combined is what made it such a weird thing to notice, because usually when you look on a League of Life, there's like 5 games and you're like, well, that's not too telling. But they're like only from 4 years ago and you're just like, what does it really tell? But that was one in probably 100, 200. Oh, yeah. I would think Bly Nerchio was a little bit closer.
So, yeah, in the interim of while we were on break, some cool things came to light, guys. Number one is Twitch actually just, well, one of the managers of Twitch, I guess, tweeted the numbers for the new emoticon slot unlocks. So, for example, right now, we can only have like 20 emotes. We actually have 2 extra, but secrets, for about 1,000 subs. The next jump up in the current live version, the way Twitch works, is 2,000 subs, right? Fuck that. We're not getting 2,000 subs this year. There's no way. But what's cool is the new tiered unlock slots, first off, unlock permanently, so we don't have to worry about fluctuating below and above 1,000 anymore like we have been. Secondly, it's 25 now for 1,000, so we can actually get more emotes, which is going to be cool. And I know people have been begging for a GG emote for a while, so we can finally get one of those in play. But I love that it's a permanent unlock. I don't have to be stressed out about going to DreamHack and losing 40 subs because we didn't cast for a couple days type thing.
So this is really interesting as you watch them both take their bases, I suppose. So they've played a lot of games, like a ton.
You want a Ligulac?
Yeah. So they have 55 match results. That's like that's a lot of games. It's weird though because they were like kind of neck and neck, and Bly was even more like winning for a certain amount of time, and then 2016 came. Nerchio won 2-0 in DreamHack Open, and then for the last 15 series has won every single one.
15? Wasn't that the same for Optimus and Euthermal?
Isn't that weird?
That is so cool and weird. That is so cool and weird. But the other thing I wanted to talk about that came up during the break while we wait for these openers to kick in, and I guess the builds already did come into play, but fights, I mean. We were kind of going over the bits. Someone in chat jokingly said, like, hey, did you guys get enough bits that you can throw another surprise pop-up Corsair Cup tomorrow? And the thing is, like, actually, yes. That's kind of the crazy thing about it, right? Zombie and I, for today, for those who don't know, like, this cup, we've integrated into the Corsair Cup circuit, but the money for it came out of our pocket. This wasn't actually sponsored money this time around. We just wanted to include it in the circuit because, well, what's the point of just hosting a random cup when we've got, like, 4 different leagues we're running? So $100 out of our pocket, it's on one hand really nice to have that money kind of put back there, right? Knowing that we made $100 in bits for the day is awesome. But we're actually a little bit closer to 150 with all this weird 1 bit at a time spam, which I still apparently is going on as I'm speaking. But this isn't a guaranteed thing, and it would be nice. I wish we lived in a world where I knew, like, hey, if we put $100 into the day, we'll walk away with 150 every single time. Sure, that's not a lot of money, and it's like way less than minimum wage as the equivalent. But it would mean something sustainable, and it would mean something that we could ideally do in a best case hypothetical. But unfortunately, as good as that is, and positive, we're actually constrained by time more than anything else. For example, I won't be able to do anything tomorrow because I've got to go to the dentist and get some work done. So I'm going to be out of commission for like about a day and a half or whatever, right? Maynard's going to be doing the VSL with Zeph. I think that actually tomorrow night is the VSL finals.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Darn
the grand finals and the team drawing for the team league.
Very cool.
So I just want to, again, everyone in chat, give yourself a pat on the back, whether you're spamming one a bit at a time, whether you're just tuning in to watch. Either way, it's just cool. It's so cool to me that this is a thing that can happen on the internet. And I think if you guys have been watching my rants more recently on YouTube, or about YouTubers, and watching these, like, really privileged people, I'm just going to say, and leave it there with no other words, complain about their current situation, I never forget for a moment how lucky we are to be able to do what we do and how cool it is to see stuff like this go down. So again, I know we're not raking in thousands of dollars. I'm not about to break into tears, but it is really fucking cool to know that you guys are who you are, I guess.
And thank you to Video Gaming for the new Twitch Prime sub. As Nerboth wins 100 bits and bunts me. Thumbs me back down here.
Yeah, we also had Koala 4. Oh, it was a follow, excuse me. We had another sub, though. Apoth, that's who it was. And now Ryuk, 89.
Ryoke?
Ryoke, Annie.
Ryo-oki. Ah, Tenchi reference. I don't think that's what he was going for, though. Anyways, this game has been unique in terms of ZvZ, as there's been really no Ling scuffles, and they both immediately went to Aspire, but Nerchio went for Roaches, and Bly went for Lings, and upgraded Lings, too, so...
Well, what's really funny is, through the upgrades alone, you can see neither of them really expected Spire out of the other. When you know there's a Spire in play and you're countering it, you go for armor, like 100% of the time, even if you're transferring out of mutas, just because the armor's better. But the fact that they've gone for weapons and they're still going for mutas, this is like going to be a really weird ZvZ game. We've actually seen, by the way, these crazy games go to like 40 plus mutas, go all in, and not actually have a follow-up. But my question is, how much bluffing goes into this, how much reading goes into this, and who finally makes infestors first? Well,
going for infestors is always dangerous.
That's the thing. It's not an answer. It's like a risk to get a solution, I guess.
It is a risk. It is a big risk. I was gonna more like go into question like a lot of the time, muta versus muta, the Ling control on the ground and how many counterattacks you get in seems to be more important. And Bly was the one who was going for upgrades. He actually canceled his +2 though, realizing it's not going to be as important as getting more mutas and more muta upgrades, which I think he's right about. But it's Nerchio who's been doing the damage. Not too much, like 8 drones, not too big of a deal, but he actually got his roaches in there, otherwise useless roaches that he just made because he thought that's what the game was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, look at the you just lost overall. Just 8 minutes into a ZvZ, you're like, what? Did they just go AFK at the start? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, definitely not the usual, especially when you have Bly in the mix. Like, Nerchio, I guess, could, like, if he faced Snoot, he could play the Snoot style of macro, but to, to have both of them just, like, not be aggressive is a little bit weird. Bly spent all of his minerals, basically, on drones and overlords, which I don't know, like, not having to worry about being supply blocked is definitely good, and Nerchio did almost the same thing here, but that also could have been, like, 600 minerals with, like, Lings countering. I think those were, like, his last couple of Lings.
They're going to be sticking on mutas, by the way. They both got into armor upgrades for behind this. Howard's giving an awkward fight, scuffle in the middle of the map, and it's going to slightly favor Bly. He takes the 1 muta lead early, and that's what matters the most. Nerchio's getting shredded.
Yeah, it snowballs so quickly, if you can back away when you have, like, about 4 less, then maybe you can come back in the game, but he dipped so hard.
This week you just cancel the Carapace and throw it down the infestation pit and hope for the best.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, just start building Spore Crawlers. You have any excess minerals. Looks like it won't be game. Spore Crawler, muta, or transfuses on the mutas, and Nerchio holds, but Bly is just dominating in the muta count, and you usually cannot come back.
Spire's open. Spire's open.
That's gonna go down. Nerchio just lost the game. Like, it sucks because he was actually in probably the better position. He had,
I agree.
I think, a better economy. No, they're spiking his back and forth, but still, he was in an okay position and he lost it.
The thing is, though, like when it comes to mutas, like the game's gonna be kind of balanced on a very, very volatile pinhead, and at this point, I mean, like Nerchio is going for the infestation pit, but it's gonna get picked. Like Bly could actually kill all the drones plus the Spore Crawler, and then on his way out, pick off the infestation pit.
If this was a 15-minute game with a lot of back and forth,
I don't like this.
And the same fight happened, I think Nerchio just immediately taps out because he knows that the way the mutas will go. But because it happened very abruptly, like they both decided to go for an attack, I think he's like kind of like refusing to admit defeat here.
I mean, what I'm worried about is like Bly's winning. He's still winning. I don't want to like make anyone misunderstand that, but not killing the infestation, but even giving Nerchio the chance to get infestors out and maybe turn the game around. Like, I feel is dangerous.
Yeah, I guess a little, sure. I mean, they'd come out without fungals, that is for sure. And then it'd just be free gas pickings. Well, I would probably even consider that a gift to him, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not too worried.
He stops the counterattacks, too. I mean, this was a great game for Bly, but the thing is, this could have just as easily gone the other way for Nerchio. If Nerchio was one who had one extra muta, if Bly's reinforced... If you guys remember, 2 mutas flew into that fight a little bit late. If those 2 mutas came in, like, 5 seconds later, like, there's... It's so dumb how big of a deal 1 muta makes. This could have gone another way.
Yeah. But that's also why you usually don't see them engage each other. Like, someone could legitimately be winning a muta fight by 2 mutas, and we're like, oh, this could be huge, but they're never going to engage because to tell that difference is very difficult. To bank on that is very difficult, and they decided to do it before the 10-minute mark. That's also kind of uncommon. The whole game was a little bit weird.
Thank you, by the way, to Parks Goat for the new sub. Glad to have you on board. Boris was asking what the sub count is right now. Goat? Oh, is that what the new...
Parks 0 GT.
I don't know how I got Parks Goat out of that. That's my bad. That's why I got Zunger for backup, guys. Boris was asking, what's the current sub count at? We are at 1,092 subscribers, which is awesome. But what's going to be really cool is this tiered subsystem is going to come out, and there's some concern about it. Yes, I've read a lot of the feedback. I don't agree with much of it, but the cool thing is, for those who don't know, if you do buy like a bigger sub, like if you're a tier 2 sub for $9.99 instead of $4.99, from what I understand, that's going to count as basically being 2 subs. So while we might have only like 1,000 subscribers, right, in this world, you could have half of those be tier 2 subs, a couple tier 3s, and the point is you'd have the equivalent of 1,500 subs, which would give you more and more and more emote unlock slots.
We're gonna run out of ideas for emotes. The more there's too many emotes.
I actually I have a lot of ideas for emotes, so I'm not worried about running out anytime soon. It's just a matter of actually getting them implemented and made.
Well, if you do. I'm like, the whole execution of emotes actually can be very difficult. I mean, people can have hundreds of emotes, but then like 50% of them aren't very good.
Yeah, it's whether they get used or not, too. I don't mind, because by having extra, you can rotate some out. What I would love to do is just have 2 available custom on players of our host.
Can we do like retro BaseTradeTV emotes?
I mean, maybe, but...
Bring back the old ones.
The idea I was getting at was, it'd be cool to, like, hey, we know there's a show match coming up. Have 2 emote slots always on the standby that you can do with the players. So you can have the chat actually cheer for the players with a temporary emote, you know? Like a temporary tattoo.
That is cool, but also what would be cool is bringing back the Asoy.
Getting into game number 2 in the top left side of the map.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the red Zerg player, Nerchio.
Fine. It's the only reason people sub to me anyways. It's good. In the bottom right is a blue Zerg. He is Bly.
Bly, of course, being up at the series. Fantastic start. But this is also what happened in the last one. Optimus, the underdog, starts off 1 over C Thermal, then it turns around on him. So maybe it's the same story, but with Zerg. But Bly's done something really cool here that I like. This is a guy who's known to 1-base all in. He's known for his aggression to all, and especially his friends. And what I think is kind of neat is if Nerchio scouts, he's not typically going to see this base. I think this is a move that some players will do. And if you know to look for it, it's really obvious. But I don't think this is something you would expect out of Bly.
Well, ZvZ is also just not too common, so... I think, though, it is still something that some people do often enough, that Nerchio, seeing the lack of a natural, of course is going to panic initially because you're facing Bly. But then once he realizes he hasn't seen any lings whatsoever, he's going to just be like, oh, okay, he took the 3rd. Like, I don't even guess to scout it to just figure that out based on times. But he's already overreacted. Going for a Bailey Nest is, you know, it's too early, even if you could use it for aggression, which he technically could if speed was on the way. But the Spine Crawler is way too aggressive already. So that he's going to actually, this actually was so worth it by Bly. Nerchio's going to send the Overload over now, as he's realizing, I think, at this second, like, I haven't seen any Banelings, I haven't seen any Lings, nothing's hiding anywhere. Shit, he took his 3rd base somewhere else. Or his natural, in fact, somewhere else. He even delayed his speed, so I said, like, he could be aggressive with that Bailey Nest if speed was already on the way, but he actually only had a finite amount of gas, so it went to 1 before the other. And Bly is going to be ahead in speed. He's going to have Banelings as well, and Nerchio just is taking a straight-up loss so far.
Well, the Overlord sees the drone transfers, so it's no longer a question of like what's going on with the bases. I think Nerchio knows exactly what's going on, and I don't know. It's really, I want to say, both difficult and easy to get leads early game ZvZ, right? Like one magical Baneling can change the game, but at the same time, you can also struggle to even get a single hit.
Oh, that was so dangerous. That was controlled.
That was good. That was good.
That was definitely a mess up by Bly there. But he has more Lings on the way, and they do have that speed. They're going to get some rounds easier. They're going to be able to chase everything down, too. No escape for Nerchio. He's going to finish like 5 seconds,
and
mind you, but he's got to build Lings now.
Oh, he can't, though, because he just got supply blocked with that Overlord going down.
I appreciate the spam. Thank you to Kowson for the Twitch Prime sub.
Today's like a day of spam. Jesus.
Really
if it's not one bit at a time, it's some... I can't even see what that is. It's an emote, I'm guessing.
Something like that.
Looks like nothing to me.
Nothing at all. So Nerchio does take a bit of a drone lead here, and he does have equal number of Lings and Banelings, so he's made up for that earlier just miss scout, basically. I think he also canceled the Spine Crawler as soon as he recognized there were no Lings on the way.
He did. So he got some of that money back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He got it back. I mean, at this point in time, if he had one, would it be the worst thing in the world?
Oh!
29 drones instead of 30? Oh, shit.
That was a really good hit. That's like 2 sneaky hits out of Nerchio, too. I really like that. Like, he draws them back with the Lings.
These ones... Oh, actually, there's more than 2 Banelings, so those ones do take out 2. The split is good. The split is good.
It's still lost mining, though, while this goes on. And, of course, he's got to now contemplate going back to mining or splitting in the main. Queen's going to be able to pick off 1.
I'll get the larva at the very least, a little bit of anyways. Nerchio's attack is being cleaned up, it looks like, on the other side of the map, and it is just him losing mining time.
I mean, okay, he takes a couple hits, but those are super dank splits, and the fact that there's no follow-up makes that okay. But if there's even 1 Ling in the main, that's like 11 dead drones.
Exactly. I feel like it'd be like so worth it to like just build an Overlord for 1 Ling, you know? But no Evolution Gibbers quite yet, so no drops quite yet either. It looks like Bly's gonna try and run to that main base because, like you said, only one.
Oh, Nerchio's trying to block the ramp. He gets there just barely.
Blocked. That was so close.
That's that was so clutch. This is so creep spurt, right? That's what makes that so dangerous. But while this goes on, a small counterattack picks off a couple more drones, and Nerchio maintains this like 10+ worker lead.
Yeah. And he's still keeping pretty even with the supply count, the army supply count as well, so he really shouldn't be taking too many big losses. And now it's Bly just kind of feeling the burn of the... well, I guess at this point it's kind of the mid-game, isn't it? Yeah. Trying to get back up to the drone count, but still down by 6, almost 9. Actually, Nerchio's still making them.
These Banelings will not be gaining the hits they want. I mean, the thing is, well, the numbers are kind of holding close, and you can guess at the income. I think the resources lost tells you about everything you need to know in a nutshell. Oh, I hope he did.
Oh, he's looking, but like that's a lot of space to look.
Well, he's also not trading with the Banelings though, too. So.
Oh, what's the deal? Oh, now he realized he could. I think he was like F2'd. But I think that made Nerchio see them with the drone. Some of the queens responding.
My problem though still persists in this drone count, right? Like Nerchio doesn't have the greatest army, sure, but again, 1 or 2 Banelings could cancel this out.
It's an okay army. He's got 12 more on the way. So yeah, all I need is Banelings, but he has no Banelings in position. A lot of drones are gonna go down. Maybe even the 3rd.
Well, he needs to get a lot of drones down. He was behind for so long.
Oh man, like if Bly had Banelings already, this would absolutely be death, but he's just building them now. It could still be a lot of damage on the hatchery.
Yeah, if those Lings... The thing is, the Lings from Nerchio are so important. They have to keep the queens alive.
Okay. He definitely... Like, they both had the same idea. They both wanted to kill each other's Banelings, but also the Lings with a splash. But Nerchio's hit better. Tough stuff. That wasn't enough damage from Bly.
I'm going to begrudgingly thank, with air quotes, heavy air quotes, the base trade historians who seem to be educating people on nothing in chat.
On the best nothing in the whole wide world.
Banelings get a pretty nice hit. Nerchio once again kind of sneaks one in.
Yeah. He's starting to lose out a little bit on the drone lead that he had, but that's only because he's investing in tech that Bly has not invested into yet.
Yeah.
So layer basically, but also getting his own Roachhorn finally. Yeah. Now it goes back to drones. This is going to be Bly's last attack. It could work, I suppose, but if Nerchio just stops droning from here on out, like 56 is not a bad drone count anyways, but, you know, also realizing that Bly might be on his last hope of an all-in here, definitely just stop droning. And he's going to have, I think, enough defensively. Defense advantage, same tech, broach speed. Bly's going to make it work.
It's such a small move, but I love that Nerchio, even like 8.5 minutes in, with how hectic this has been, he's not being complacent. Sending one Ling up that ramp to scout for the banling so he doesn't walk face first into a bunch. Keeping these Lings where they need to be. The thing is, while the roach count is just starting, I am worried that he might be in trouble. Well, you know what? Hold the phone. Maybe not, because Bly might have an army supply lead. Had, past tense. He's supply blocked really badly, so he wasn't able to keep following up with said army supply.
Yeah. And even then, he still had to march across the map and make his Ravagers, which look like Yetis, but they're Ravagers.
Oh, does he have the,
He does.
Oh, he does, yeah. I thought we keep saying Yeti. I'm thinking like I just can't not see Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's only on the production tab that it looks like a Yeti.
Yeah. The legs are cool. The spikes on the back I don't understand. The Ravager itself is a weird unit.
It's a lot of larvae, like, and eggs there.
It's reinforcements that get cut out, absolutely. But Nerchio, I think, still has the numbers. And with 17 roaches, might just be able to brute force his way in. He does eat corrosive bowels and some banelings.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Nerchio actually going to possibly lose this. A lot of defense advantage would sure go in his favor.
I think if those eggs didn't get canceled, it would have, without a single doubt in my mind. But Nerchio's just barely bleeding this out. Let's not forget, he just pulled drones in this, but he still holds like a 11 drone something lead, so it's not like he's in trouble yet.
Yeah, and he can't kill the eggs anymore. If he didn't lose those 4 Ravagers, I think he just killed another round of roaches, and that might have been enough, but the reinforcements are so slow from Bly. They're only Lings now, and the larva production just wasn't consistent enough, so he's going to lose his roaches on the front line, and that's going to be it for this game.
I did like Bly's attempt to pull back the roaches and keep microing them best to their capabilities to keep them alive, but even with the 30 Lings that he was trying to rush across the map, it's still not going to be enough. Nerchio's going to transfuse the queens. He's got quite a bit of energy in these, actually. And Bly makes a big round of roaches, or excuse me, drones right now. And I like the attempts, but as we can see, that round of drones costs some army supply, which Nerchio now doubles.
Bly will have to buy a lot of time, make Nerchio never attack him, and he could, you know, that's the path to success. That's the path to the comeback, but Nerchio is already moving across the map, attacking this third base where there isn't any defense. Even the queen was pulled, so no mining from there. Doesn't matter if Bly had that drone lead.
Oh man, if it's any Ravagers, so many Overlords die.
Yeah, that's true. Transfuses from the queens coming in does save that one, as well as provide them for the roaches, obviously. And Nerchio decides not to take the fight. He didn't have a lot of reinforcements, so it does make sense. Like, they're only just now popping, and that would have been too late. Bly's defense advantage would have kicked in, and just barely been enough. And Bly is going to go for a Spire now. He's going to fall behind in economy again, and he's behind in the upgrades again. But that Spire could be the difference maker. It could just literally be a difference other than numbers that screws Nerchio up.
I mean,
red Raptors. Red Yetis.
I'm telling you, it's Knuckles versus Sonic, right? There's so many rivalries today. Today was like really the rivalry tournament.
Yeah. Corsair Bios do friendly attack, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember when we first found that out at BlizzCon, and we were like, finally!
Yeah,
feel our pain.
I'll clean up this mineral lion harass, no problem. Let me just launch some of these cool corrosive. Oh, there's all my drones dead. Okay.
That was a good time. Yeah, that almost happened there.
Well, I think that this, regardless of the mutas, like it was a good attempt. It's a good ploy, and it's the best, maybe in a bad situation. But while the army supplies are a little bit close, they're really not. One of the big things is Nerchio's gonna have upgrades in his favor, and if he gets Burrow on top of this, he can juke out a lot of shots. Bly is gonna really be hard pressed to take a good fight here.
Yeah. Defender's advantage might just kick in well enough, but we also have infestors on the way for Nerchio, and Bly has to use every bit of money and gas for his roaches. So a whopping 3 mutas pop out. They will. That's free damage on roaches. Okay, like, so it's not exactly something that you scoff at.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. It's like Bly has done an admirable job keeping this up. Like, he's certainly not out of the game yet. I still favor Nerchio in a lot of ways, but for me, I think the infestors are going to tip the scale. Because if it was a crazy amount of mutas, infestors could be the answer. Match up with corrosive biles, everything dies. But at the same time, just getting blanket AoE damage on roaches and ravagers can be equally good. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential through these infestors that Bly isn't going to have with the mutas.
Well, that is true. Very different types of potential here. The fungals are almost never going to be bad, although he does have to wait for them.
Yeah, he'd have to completely whiff and not hit a single unit for the fungals to be classified as bad.
He'd also have to, but he like Bly could bring this game back just by the I hope he fails against the mutas basically. Like I hope he panics and doesn't play this right. Like if Nerchio just saw mutas and was like, I guess I gotta defend for the next 5 minutes. That's Bly trying to like skyrocket up to Hive and Ultras, right? And that's another way he comes back in the game. But if Nerchio just takes it peacefully and fungals, that's it.
Yeah, the infestors were burrowed, so it wasn't even like any chance that he would have known. There's just no way to see that reveal. And 2 mutas now with almost no health, not a threat. So Nerchio's looking to push the front line. More mutas are coming in, but there's still a couple more fungal growths where this first ones came from. Yeah,
still no Overseer with the mutas, I suppose. There is one with Bly's army, so the infestors aren't being targeted.
He was waiting for them to clump up.
Yeah. This might look like a good time for Bly to move in, but the supplies under their tail, Nerchio doubling that of Bly's.
Oh my god. And of course, it's not even all that's on the front line. The front line's already winning. The fact is Nerchio's got more, and he's pulling the infestors back. Not sure why infested Terrans were made. I don't think the mutas were chasing.
Yeah, I think some of them were, so he just threw them out. Why not? Also, again, some of these didn't have enough energy.
It's going to be like, what, 5 mutas trying to clean up what is 36 roaches? They just don't have the damage.
But that is something that Bly has done before. He's gone down to like 1 base, 2 drones, 5 mutas, and been like, I got this.
GG. Alright, so that was a really cool game out of Nerchio. Really good game out of Bly. But regardless, we are going to go to game 3. And this looks like the story that we just told with the DVT. We're going to go to a quick commercial break here, guys. 2 minutes while we set up this third and final lobby. When we get back, we find out who goes on to fight against Euthermal in the grand finals. Thanks for watching. Hey folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. We appreciate it. We're getting into game 3 right now. It's Paladino Terminal. I'm not going to play the silly intro. We're just going to hop into the game. So things are tied up 1-1 if you've just joined us. And if you've missed the other parts of today's cup, we actually have Euthermal sitting nicely in the finals after a pretty interesting TVT on his side. So it's the guaranteed TVZ finals.
Cool beans.
But which of these two go on to fight against them? In the bottom right, it's going to be the red Zerg player, Nerchio.
In top left is the blue Zerg. He is Bly.
All right. Gas first out of Bly. So looking to get a little bit aggressive. I mean, it's worth noting he did get to choose the map.
Right. And I do think that if you put Bly in a corner, his automatic reaction is to build an early pool, so... he'd be useless in, like, you know, survival situations. Then you get a Hardy Marty for the 32-month resub.
Hardy Marty.
Just imagine, like, Bly's on, like, like an island with you, right? Like, you're gonna choose to bring an island with you. You choose Bly, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't have any survival skills, but I tell you what, I can make a great pool. And he's like, digs a little pool on the island. It'll be great. You can swim around in it. That's all I can do. Oh, Nerchio's going for a pool first. Well,
so
what do you have to expect?
In response to your pool joke, I will say a lot of people look up to Tasteless and Artosis as some of the best casters out there. And I think what Tasteless does really well, that I wish I could emulate, but I never will be able to, is laugh all the time, really hard, really genuinely, at anything Artosis says. And well, I would absolutely be the guy who would make the same comment you just did and sit there with a shit-eating grin on my face waiting for that no response from you. I don't think it works the other way around. But I also can't fake a laugh, which sucks.
I think you've done it before, though, so it's not too out there. Which is why... No, not the fake laugh. You just sat there being like, okay.
Okay.
But that's also why you just go into the next point really quickly and let it just go. Right? So... you go back and talk about the game and how Nerchio of course, expected this and is already responding to it. And he's building a spine crawler already. Like, I don't think Bly's gonna get much done.
He did this last time too. It's the second spine crawler that hits hard where you're like, okay, he's taking this very, very seriously. Because one spine crawler maybe deals with whatever, but it's not going to deal with the banelings too well. And that's where 2 of these to snipe him off, plus the queen gets a couple of shots in, and Bly suddenly shut down. Nerchio may have to give up his natural. I don't actually know just yet, but it's certain that he's not going to have an easy time losing the main.
This is one of the funnier ways to deal with an early pool.
This
just
is
because
so
he
cool.
had such advanced notice of it. Usually there's a lot more panic and not as many spine crawlers.
Yeah, that focus fire is sick. I mean, the thing is, though, this has already done damage just by making the spine crawlers, right? That's over 300 minerals just invested, and the drone's lost to it, too. But if Nerchio can stay alive, he's going to be looking great coming out of it.
Yeah. I mean, he should be. He should stay alive. Because even if he tries to run through the main base, like, he's going to run in with, like, 5 links. That's fine.
His tumor died from the Baneling Splash, I guess. Didn't realize that. So this spine might bleed out. He's going to lose
that one will, but 2
Oh.
spine crawlers is still enough. Like, honestly, a 3rd spine crawler is a little bit, like, excessive, usually, when you see the defenses.
That's true. Leapfrogging down to the low ground is dangerous. Again, A, because there's no creep spread like there was. And then B, like, it could have been picked off before it had a chance to burrow. Spine crawlers take like a year and a half to burrow.
Yeah. Well, time isn't really running out in terms of, like, Baneling that's about to finish or speed on the way for Nerchio, but he is just adding on queens, which are also really good. Another spine crawler even. Like, he's not taking any chances, because Bly could just mass up Banelings as much as you could on one base and like, bust him, and that's... Yeah, that won't work so well against spine crawler and queens. It'll work great against masslings.
If the spines are clumped up, the Banelings could actually just take them all out, and there'd be no problem, but... Nerchio spreading these out is really, I think, it's something we haven't addressed, but very important. A lot of Banelings die to take out the one spine. Maybe these trade out for Larva and drones. Queen's going to go down.
Yeah, Larva.
New spine, of course. Once it finishes up, it gets that building armor, but when it's building, it doesn't. So as we saw, it was going down pretty quick. But this spine in the main doesn't quite reach. Again, no tumor. That really sucks.
It does. You know, that could have been a big difference maker to someone who didn't take the follow-up as seriously as Nerchio did. Like, 1 less spine crawler, 2 less spine crawlers, and he actually would probably be dead right now, but it didn't end up making that big of a difference. Bly gets in the base, but like I said, only with a handful of lings. As long as these Banelings don't get good hits.
I like what Nerchio's done here. He's held position in these lings. So this is going to soak up one Baneling. The Queen of the Spine will take out the others. Like I think he's fully aware there's Banelings. Yeah, he actually finds this.
Whoopsie.
Killing 1, killing 2. But while this goes on, a lot more lings come through the main entrance. Spine crawler just going to be surrounded and killed, most likely.
And another one's... Yeah, being out alone like that was definitely a mistake. You probably should have brought that back. But their one building in the mineral line also helps out. I mean, Bly still has a lot of power in him, and all the spine crawlers are taken out here. Nerchio up 8 drones, sure, but has lost a lot of minerals defending here.
That's very true, actually. And again, a lot of those minerals lost aren't reflected. Like when you've got the spine crawlers alive, that's still 150 minerals in the hole. But I think what's impressive is that Nerchio has held on to that drone count. That Bly hasn't been able to get there and pop off like 7 workers. And that's usually what gives you the option to play this out afterwards. But Bly has still not traded out. So it's still all in. It's still him desperate. Make no mistake, Bly's the desperate one in this scenario.
I do kind of wish for how long this game has gone and how much Nerchio has invested in non-counterattack units. I kind of wish that Bly had expanded. But still trying to force the issue.
Well, I mean, Nerchio, there's also...
Spinecrawler.
Well, there's a note in that too, right? Nerchio's had no gas. This is his first gas being taken 6 minutes in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm impressed with the defense. The gasless defense I don't think is easy to pull off. You used to be able to do this once upon a time by doing like the triple Evo chamber wall off, right? But Paladino doesn't allow for that.
Exactly.
So Nerchio making really great defense is what it comes down to.
Well, it's kind of too late to try and macro out of this. Bly thought about going for evolution or an evolution chamber to do overlord drops. Where it was going, but decided not to.
It got scouted too, right? Like,
yeah, there's enough queens that it wouldn't have lasted long enough without speed. So, running out of options. Running out of options. Just one last ditch effort with a bunch of banelings.
I will say, at this point, if Bly makes something happen, it may be the greatest ZvZ win he's ever had. On the other hand, if Nerchio wins, kind of like all plans going accordingly. I think we got a really sick finals lined up.
Even if you lost all the drones by natural, it still wouldn't be enough drones to even up the game. Plus a hatchery. And that doesn't kill but one.
And that's gotta be game. There we go. Nerchio takes it 2-1, knocking Bly out of the tournament and moving on to the finals. But I guess it is worth noting before we do move on, both Optimus and Bly still do get about $10 in prize money, 3rd and 4th place consolation, plus points. Now, I don't know. We had the monthly finals pretty much determined ahead of time, but this might actually, for Season 4, shake things up for some players. I don't know who's going to get maybe bumped out of the top. Like, for example, if Nerchio wins, Euthermal's already qualified to the monthly finals. If Nerchio wins, then he actually bumps somebody off the list. Who? I don't know. But either way, we'll set up this best of 5, and we'll get back to you guys here in just a moment. Thank you again for everything today so far. Thank you to Just Link, who subbed moments ago. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.